there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. And today, strap in, it's probably gonna be a long one. I can feel it in my bones because I got a big pile next to me. I have FFOs, FOs, whips, and new starts. I got a lot going on. I think it's like all I did for the past 2 weeks. Like it's hard to believe it's only been 2 weeks since I last filmed. And actually it's been a little bit less because I'm filming a day early. I'm filming on Thursday. I usually try to film on Friday. So one less day of stitching and I still have more than I usually do. Crazy. So before I get into all that though, I do want to give a quick shout out to Uplift Stitches. It is a YouTube channel that's fairly new and they shouted me out in one of their Flosstubes last month and I went and I watched the 2 videos that they have up and instantly fell in love with their channel. I can't wait for the next video, whenever that may be. It is a like husband and wife duo, but I think predominantly the husband's not gonna be in every single video from what he said. But it was so fun to see a couple that stitches together because, I don't know, I just think it's really fun. And it's interesting that the fact that they stitch together, but they have very different styles about like the patterns they stitch and the way they stitch. Like she is a stitcher like me who likes to stitch on like a lot of stuff. He's more monogamous, so he gets like more solid like finish and then go to the next one, finish and go to the next one. And he had mentioned that he and I have similar stitching tastes, and he's right because he was showing some of his previous finishes and he held up a Stardew Valley piece and I was like, I love Stardew Valley so much. So I am dying to see some of the other stuff that he stitches on, and their dynamic was really sweet and I loved it. And you know how everybody's always like, oh, here's the books I read or the movies or shows or whatever. They were talking about board games they played at the end, which I love because I love board games. But ever since I graduated college, my friend group like scattered to the wind and now I don't have anybody to play board games with. So it was really cool to see that little insert there, and I hope that they keep doing that in future Flosstubes because it was just really fun. So check out Uplift Stitches. I will have them linked down below. Love the channel name. And one thing that I do want to say about them is they had discussed, they had a house fire and they lost everything. And I don't know how recent it was, maybe in the past couple of years or something like that. And it was just really impressive to me how they discussed it, but they didn't seem to let it like completely destroy. Cause like if I lost everything in a hobby of mine, let alone all of my possessions, like I don't know if I'd be able to function, but they were just like, they just kept pushing through. And I don't know, I just really admired that about them. They seem to have a really highly positive life view and like that goes really like Uplift Stitches. Like, I don't know, I just really like that name. So I just want to put that out there. Go subscribe to them, check out their videos. They are really cool. So now let's get into some of my stitching. Let's start with the FFOs. So last Friday, I work from home 2 days a week. I work from home Thursday, Friday. And sometimes I have literally like a 6-hour lull in my day. And that's what happened last Friday because I was waiting on a customer to send me information so that I could do the one task that I needed to do. And they waited like 6 hours to do that. So I had a lot of time on my hands and I was like, let me just FFO some stuff. And that's what I did. So the first one I FFO'd was Let's Eat Trash and Get Hit by Cars. I kind of got to angle it because there's a ring light. This is just like a frame from Michaels. I really like these. They have 4 different colors. They have like a bright green, this blue, a darker blue, and then a pink, I believe. And so I bought this frame for this stitch thinking it was going to fit. And then there's just, you can see on the top, it like touches the top, and on the bottom, it cuts off some of his feet. And so initially I was like, I'll figure out a different frame. And then I didn't figure out a different frame. And then I just kept looking at it and I was like, you know what? I don't care. So I put it in this frame. And will I regret it someday? Maybe, but this was a quick, easy stitch. So if I'm really that bent out of shape about it and I want to reframe it in something better, I'll just stitch it again, and probably on a smaller count fabric because this is 14 count. Just don't love 14 count. I don't know. But yeah, this is in this, like, I love this pop of blue, and I just put it, I have like a little sewing table over here. So I just propped it up over there. I just I just wanted to get it in a frame because this is like, I think my oldest finish that I had on hand. And I'm just like, I don't want finishes sitting and sitting and sitting forever. I want to actually fully finish my stuff. And I don't want to let myself get into like a rut where I have a bunch that needs to just like be fully finished. So that was the first one. Then I felt fairly confident that my frimp frame was dry enough because like I Mod Podged it and it was like 3 to 4 weeks or something crazy like that. And I was like, well, I should have read the instructions first, Hillary, but I didn't. So I put the frimp in this frame and I was like, I wanted to do, and I just like painted it with black acrylic paint and then I put Mod Podge over it so it would be shiny and it would also like help it so it didn't like crack and fall off. And then I was like, oh, how do I do the back? And so I looked up all these really great tutorials that explain to you how to lace the back of it and then put fabric over the top. But this Aida is so stiff that I couldn't get it laced down very well. And then because of that, it made the sewing the fabric on the back really difficult. And as someone who's never done it before, learning that skill in like hard mode was not on my list of things to do. So I did a terrible job, and that's fine because I can just take this off later in the future and sew it back on again better when I'm mad about it. But I just did like a overcast stitch or whatever around the edge. Nobody's gonna see it, really. It's just there for my peace of mind, I guess. It's just whatever. And this is also over on my sewing table, but it's done. It's finished. And then someday maybe I'll want to fix the back, but today is not that day. So we got subpar stitches and subpar finishes. That's my vibe. And then I have 2 more FFOs, and these are both done in like the same style. They're ornament hangings. So I had finished both of these recently and I decided to turn them into ornaments. I started out by following a tutorial, but then I just kind of like went my own way with it. I followed like all, like this woman had like all these great measurements for how big to cut the what do you call it? Like the board that you put inside. I was using like a slightly different board than her. She also sewed her like 2 pieces together rather than just glue it. I just glued it because I'm like, I don't care that much. And then she laced the back of her stitching on, but then glued it onto the board. So I was like, I'm just going to glue it all. I don't want to lace it and then glue it and then glue it again. Like it felt like a lot more work. So I had some extra fabric from making project bags. So this one, I tried to make sure like this crystal was in the back. It's just some like kind of spooky Halloween kind of stuff. And I will make sure to link or mention all the pattern names below. This one is Stitch Witch Froggers. I think I said the names of the first 2, but they will be down below in the description. And it's just 2 pieces of board glued together. And then I made this cording out of DMC. I have a cone of 310, so I was like, I'll just use 310. And I have this hanging on my craft closet. They're not perfect, but I like them. And then I also got my Antisocial Cryptid Club on this. So this one is like not like the best, but I love it. I have this hanging on my office door, which is right over there, which is why I gestured over there. Again, same black DMC 310 cording. It's all just kind of glued together over some board. And basically what happened was, you could see these are 2 different colored fabrics. I didn't have enough of one to do both sides. And I really thought that the contrast, like I like that these kind of blended together somewhat, like they had similar tones. So I used that one for the front. And then I had the exact same fabric, but in like blackish gray. And I used that for the back. And I think that it looks fine from the side. I think it gives it a little bit of a pop. Nobody really sees the back one anyways, so who cares, I guess. And so now my office is the Antisocial Cryptid Club, and I thought it was really cute. I like how it turned out. I'm glad that I finished it this way. So those were my 4 FFOs. Then I had some FOs to show you. So I know last time I showed you guys this stitching community ornament that I was working on, and then I was like, I just got, like, I was looking at it, I was like, I could just finish that tonight. So I immediately after filming the last video went and finished it. So here is where I was last time. And again, all of the names of these patterns as well as the designer and or a link to them if possible will be in my description box. I just, I'm really bad at remembering names of things. So here it is finished. This is going to be, I'm going to cut it out and do it just kind of like Elizabeth Ann can stitch. She had kind of like a mini tutorial in a recent video she did, so I'm gonna follow that because I really liked the way that she finished hers. So this is on 28 count Milk and Honey linen by Fiber on a Whim, and I used the Cupid Overdye by Classic Colorworks. I bought it specifically for this. There wasn't much left. I did 2 over 2, that's why on 28 count. So used up quite a bit. Somebody was like, in my comments on the last one, they were like, oh, you should have bought DMC. I can't even remember the number because it's like a red variegated DMC floss. And I was like, you know, I have that. Why didn't I use that? I was like, well, I'll use it for next time I do one of these types of ornaments. But I thought it was really, really cute. I think that this designer has a bunch of these. And so now I'm kind of tempted to get a bunch of these. I'm in an ornament mood, which you will see when I get to haul and plans. Speaking of ornaments, I have 2 other ornaments. These are the cat and owl ornaments from Owl Forest Embroidery. This is a free pattern on their shop. There are 6 in total. These are like numbers 3 and 4 that I've finished. I'm working on the 5th one. I'll show you that in whips. So this is the 3rd owl. And so I finished up this one. I think this is the last one I was showing you. And then I started on the cats, and I very quickly, I was very determined. I finished up this first cat and I started the 2nd one. These are using mostly the called for DMCs. The only thing I did was all the white in these patterns is B5200. And instead of using B5200 on the clothes, I use the white étoile that I have. And then in like the cat's face and like whiskers and stuff, I did just stick to the B5200. But when it comes to like the hat or any of like the accenting on the clothing, I used étoile because I thought that would be a cute touch. So I just have 2 left to do, and then I will be done with the cat and owl ornaments. I'm going to cut them out, get some felt for the backs, which Chris Cross Stitch, he talked in a recent video, he got this sticky like stick-on felt from Amazon, I think, and that's what I'm going to do because that just seems nicer than using hot glue. I hate hot glue so much. It's so annoying. I should just buy fabric glue. I don't know why I didn't think of that until just now. But all of these ornaments are, like, all the cats and owls are wearing red or blue. So I'll get the felt, use like a corresponding backing color. So like red for the red and like this kind of lighter blue for the blue, if I can find that. And then I found these like ribbons, these thinner ribbons. They're like 1/8 of an inch or something like that wide at Walmart the other day when I was just doing nothing in Walmart. And they were like 40 cents a roll. And I was like, these will be perfect because they correspond so well to the colors. And then I'll have ribbon for like future ornaments, and it'll be handy to have. So bought that for these. So when I finally get around to finishing them, cutting them out and all that, I want these done for my tree this year. So I have plenty of time. The next thing was kind of like a start and finish because Lola Crow Cross Stitch is doing a sal, and it's the like creepy Christmas ornament sal, and it's like a creepy Christmas village, I think is what it is. And so I have the called for fabric, called for floss, and the fabric is 36 count Elephant Run by Fox and Rabbit. Here is the first design. It is the Creepy Carolers. They have this like really light green outlining all of them. It gives them kind of an ethereal glow. Just a little bit of back stitching here on the lamp. Very simple. Started it one night, finished it up real quick the next day. And I'm going to do like round ornament finishes on all of them once I get them all done. I feel like there's a lot of excess fabric. And I was a little bit disappointed by that because, so I ordered the fabric that they recommended, and it said, you know, cut the fabric into 6 equal pieces. So I did without really doing any kind of measurement or anything. And then I picked the highest count fabric, so that they're going to be itty bitty. I probably could have squeezed a little bit of extra, like, I probably didn't need this big of a gap around it, and I probably could have squeezed just a little bit more out the end, but oh well, you live, you learn. Probably should have measured. But I'm excited because tomorrow when I'm filming this, but it will already be out when you guys see this, the next ornament will drop, and so I will get a start on that. I like this sal because it's like a bunch of like mini projects, which is really fun, and the last one drops, I think, like shortly before Christmas, so these won't be finished for me in time to go up on my tree this year, but that's okay because I have grander plans for all my Christmas ornaments. And then the last thing I finished is kind of like a throwaway. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. This is just a little bitty butterfly. This is a stitch sprout pattern that I got from the Patreon. And I don't know. I wanted to stitch something. I wanted to start something, but I didn't want to do anything crazy. It was later in the evening and I was like, I need to go to bed soon. So I just started and finished this in one sitting. I'll get like a itty bitty, maybe like a tiny ornate frame and, you know, put it somewhere as like a little decor piece. Nothing special, just on some scrap 14 count white Aida I had. It was cute. I love a monarch. And that is all of the FOs that I have. So let's go into whips now. And of course, the first whip I have is the next of the cat and owl ornaments. You can see this is another cat, and then I just have to put in his eyes because he looks so scary without his eyes, and his whiskers, and his face will be done. I gotta finish his hat up, and then I had just started doing the étoile around like the collar of his jacket, and then he's just got like a big red jacket. And I think that the last cat is also blue, so I'll finish on a blue note, and then I will be done with these. And this is like a couple days worth of lunchtime stitching, so these will stitch up pretty quickly, and then I just have to order the backing fabric for them, the felt. Next up, I got the urge to work on my Quacker sampler, and I had asked you guys, you know, I was doing it 1/2 on 32 count, and I wasn't sure if it looked good or not, and I asked you guys, and you all said, like, keep it the way it is, and I agree, I do really like it. It looks a little bit rustic. So here's where I was last time, and this is, it's just the funniest sampler. I love the pun, I love the color choices, and here is where I am now. So I'm still working on filling in that first motif. The first motif is really, it's pretty big. I didn't expect how big it was, I guess. This is 32 count blue spruce Belfast linen, and it is by Zweigart. So it's not like, it's just like a solid color. There's no modeling or anything like that. And it looks really good with the floss, which is also the called for. This is the Gentle Arts linen, and it is this kind of like off-white that is like very lightly over dyed. So it does kind of have that, I don't want to say dirty, but like a little bit dirty look of a duck, you know? And this has such cute little motifs on it. There's like a rubber duck. There's like a pile of eggs. This is, there's going to be, I think, like a pond look. So there's like fish, and then there's like these willow, what do you call them? The forbidden corn dogs. I can't remember. But they're like, this comes out here, and then there will be one here and one out the other side. So it's not like the fastest stitch just because right now I'm in like the densest area, but I think afterwards it will stitch up a lot faster. This is just, I looked at the overall pattern and it is like the most stitch dense area because it's using that like negative space look, which I love the negative space look, but sometimes you feel like you've done absolutely nothing when you're stitching on a negative space motif because it takes so much longer for the picture to kind of come into fruition. But I will continue to work on this. You know, I have no like hard deadlines or anything for this. There's no like plans, just stitch on it when I feel like it. It's a lot of fun, and I love Quacker. Quacker sampler is so cute. I feel like I'm buzzing right through it because I'm like worried I got too much stuff. The next thing I worked on was my very wrinkly Wizard Inventory Sal by Sewing Starfish. And the motifs that I added this last time were this mandrake right here, so you can see up close. And then we have, I think actually, you know what? I think the mandrake has some back stitching and I forgot to put it in, so maybe I didn't totally finish it. And then this, it's like a puppet thing guy right here. And then I think last time I didn't show you, I hadn't finished this yet, but like we have an ankh and this owl. So there is only 1 week left, and that's this week. So Friday, the last set of motifs will come out and they'll go right here. So I will put those in tomorrow, and then I will add in any back stitching and French knots that I have missed, and this will be done. And I'm kind of sad about it because like I love Sewing Starfish's style where a lot of their patterns, it's almost like a theme, and then it's just like a lot of like little motifs, and it's fun. It's really cute, and I love the big wizard in the center. He is absolutely a fave. I love the spider coming off of him. This whole thing has been fun. I'm so glad this was my first Sal experience. I was able to keep up with it, and I'm, excited about that. I feel like with Sals, it seems like it can be really hard because it's a mystery. You don't know what it's going to be. I guess not all Sals are mysteries, but like a lot of the ones that I'm interested in are mystery Sals. And then what if you like the vibe of the teaser, but then as you go, you're like, I don't really like this pattern at all. And it's like you feel bad that you wasted your time, your money, and you didn't like the thing in the end, but that's not what happened here. I loved every second of this. I'm so excited to finish this up, although it is bittersweet. I can't wait to see. I hope they do another one in the future. And then my last whip, I just was like in the mood to do some more like samplery type style stuff. So I pulled out my long dog sampler that I have. This is Pavane for these times. And I got some work, and I finished this third, like big, I don't know if you call these Quakers or these big like octagonal like type motifs. I finished the third one, and then that means there's 2 more. So I hit the dead center. I started working on the top border some more. Let me tell you, I made an error. We were watching a movie, and I wasn't paying attention. I'm using a paper pattern for this, not like Pattern Keeper or anything. And I wasn't paying attention because I kind of got in the groove where I was like, okay, like this is a repeating pattern. So I just was like doing this all the way across. And then suddenly I realized that at this midpoint, it is a repeating pattern, but it reverses itself. And so I had all of these going the same way as the rest, and I was like, no, I want it to be right. I could have just fudged it and gone one way across the top. I didn't want to, so I picked it all out and I redid it, but man, was I mad about it. And then I kept having problems with my counting here, and these weren't like lining up as I came to the center, so I had to unpick that like 2 or 3 times. So I probably could have finished a lot more than I had with this if I hadn't had to unpick it all and redo it. This is on a 28 count Sage Lugana, and that's by Zweigart, and I'm just doing 310. In the future, I will do like a big sampler like this, but using like a cool over dye or something, or like insert some colors. But this was my first like really big sampler from Long Dog, and I was like, I just want to make sure that I like it before I invest a lot of money and that sort of thing into the floss. But I really do like it. It's not my typical style, but it's really fun to watch it come together. And on a 28 count, it feels like it goes a lot faster for some reason. I'm stitching this in hand. I don't know why, just the vibe that I had from it. And so there is some back stitching needed, but I'm gonna save that for the end because I love to torture myself, I guess. And then I think I said that was my last whip, but I lied because there is one more whip. The past couple days I've been working on my Hobbit Stitch Your Own Adventure, which is by Cunning Cross Stitch over on Facebook. That's a group you can join. This is a free Sal, and it's really cool because it's highly customizable. There's a lot of like thought that has gone into this, It is very clear to me from the creator, like he put his heart and soul into it. And so definitely go check it out. Here's where I was last time on mine. I was working on the tree. I am still working on the tree, but I am almost done. I don't know if you can see, I did the party version of the tree. So there's like little lanterns hanging up. I got to finish those and string them together. And then I've gotten started on the outline of my hobbit hole. I can't wait to kind of see that come into fruition. This fabric, I am not a big neutrals person, just because, like, to me, like a lot of people, when I see people stitch something on a neutral fabric, I'm like, that looks really pretty. You've done a great job. But I myself have a hard time selecting a neutral fabric because I can't in my head like see the vision, because neutrals to me are just so plain, like my brain can't think about them in an exciting way. But I found this fabric and I knew instantly that's the one I wanted to use. This is 28 count Sand Lugana from Picture This Plus. It looks like weathered paper to me, like on a map. It's like very light modeling, but it is there. You can see it. And I just thought that was perfect for like a Hobbit, Lord of the Rings kind of theme. And I got so much, because I was like, I'm doing 28 count because I want it to be kind of big. So I got a big old fat half. Like, I will have fabric left over for the future, which is great because I have no neutrals in stash. I only tend to go for like really fun, colorful fabrics. So this is like a blanket though. I could just feel very comfortable this way. But yeah, I love this so much. I somehow am missing a color, so I gotta go to Joann's after work today and pick that up. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Before I only had the green done, so I added all the tree bits at the bottom. And then I had one new start. This one, I don't know. I just really had the urge to start it. I really wanted to use this floss that I bought for it. This is by the Sweetheart Tree, and this is called Tiny Blackwork 1 Welcome Sampler. So here's what it looks like. There are two different versions. There's this version right here with the simple border, and then this one has like a more intricate border at the bottom. I haven't decided which border I'm going to stitch yet. You know, it's like, that's a decision I can make at the end. But here is where I'm at. And this is a really weird fabric because, like, look at how see-through it is. And it's like a 40 count, what is it called? It had like an interesting name to Optical White Linen by Witchelt. And then I lost my floss. The floss is a Bestitch Me silk called Cosmos. And I just really like the color. And my biggest challenge with this is that you can't really travel because look at how see-through the linen is. But then, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I was ironing my piece because I had it all rolled up and I wanted to show you guys. And like, luckily, I think it's mostly just if you look really closely, but I brought the setting on my iron down lower because I had silks in this, and it has like a silk setting and then it has like a cotton linen setting. And I was like, because there's silks in this, I want to make sure that I don't like destroy the silk. So I brought it down to the silk setting and I hit the steam button. And I don't use the steam function on my iron very often. And so I don't know, something like malfunctioned or what, but it didn't let out a puff of steam like it's supposed to. It just started leaking water, and then there was like rust in the iron. So it leaked this rusty water all over my optical white linen. And I can see, like, from far away with light going through it, I can see it. But without the light going through it, it's not so bad. But it left this like weird, like rusty brown marking all over it. And I'm like annoyed about it, but I feel like it's not visible enough to be too worked up. And the colors will like detract from whatever you can see in here. So I'm just gonna keep going. I don't know. I was just kind of annoyed by that. But I really enjoy, this is my first time stitching with silks. I really, really enjoy it. I do wish that the colors blended a little bit more like seamlessly. I think that just comes from like learning, but the length of each color on the strand is really, really quite long. So doing 1/2, it doesn't use it up fast enough for, on 40 count, it doesn't use it up fast enough for it to like blend as I had envisioned it, but I think it'll still look cute. And I'm just gonna put it by my door when I'm done and just put it in a little cute frame or something. So that was my one new start. I do have just a little bit of haul. So I did get my Bestitch Me club. So I get the silks and I am part of the fabric club. So I get the 25 yards of like the variegated. So I have chocolate chip cookie, which is this beautiful variegated brown. And then this one is called River Rock, which is like gray and blue. And both of these, like, these are perfect for stash because I feel like this River Rock one that's like kind of gray blue, it kind of reads a little bit black. So if I want a soft black, I could probably use something like this. There's plenty of variegated browns that, or patterns that call for like a variegated brown. This will be a perfect substitute in, and it's got just such a good range of color here. So these are great to have on hand. And then for the club, I get 32 count Lugana. I need to switch it. I want 36 or maybe 40 count and then probably a linen going forward. But this one is called Nightshade, and it's like a periwinkle, like a pretty light purple kind of color. This is so cute. I have a couple ideas, but this is great for like winter patterns for sure. I'm really excited to get some use out of this. I need to start using some of my Bestitch Me fabrics. I just haven't made tons of plans yet, but I do have something that I could stitch on this. And then these aren't necessarily haul, but I don't know where to put them. So I dyed a bunch more fabrics. The other day I just came home and I like got the urge to dye some stuff. So I had wanted, I haven't trimmed the edges of it so you can see like there's like lots of weird hairs. But I had wanted like a neutral fabric for something. This isn't gonna work for what I had it in mind for, but I do love the way it turned out. So I will find use for this. I want to stitch Turkey Trot by, is it Bendy Stitchy? I'll pop it up on the screen, you'll see. But I wanted to stitch that this month and I didn't want to buy any new fabric, so I just decided to dye a fabric the color that I wanted, and this turned out pretty much exactly how I wanted it. And then I had just a couple like experimental pieces. So I did this red, which, I mean, good for Christmas stuff. I did a green, which turned out really interesting. I like all that white that's peeking through. I love this one. It's very mottled, though I don't know what I'm going to put on it. And then I was just doing kind of an experimental, like, can I get a cool Christmas fabric? The answer was no. This looks kind of wild. I'll definitely use it for something, but it didn't turn out how I envisioned it, so I think I'm gonna need to learn how to ice dye. Yeah, so that is it. My camera's dying, so I'm not gonna do any kind of like extra stuff at the end here this time, but my plans, like I said, are I want to start that Turkey Trot pattern. I want to start stitching on some Christmas, so I'm going to stitch Tomato Santa sometime this month, get that started. And I want to keep stitching on my Hobbit hole and get that done by the end of the year because the first part of the pattern, I believe, releases in January. So those are my plans. Let me know what you guys got going on, what you thought of what I'm stitching on, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.